Welcome to the Grit Behind the Grind podcast, where we dive deep into raw, unfiltered journey of entrepreneurship, fitness, mental health, and building businesses from the ground up. I'm Eric Rowell, co-founder of Grit and Grind Coffee, real estate developer, fitness enthusiast, dad, and husband.
And I'm Destiny Rowell, co-founder of Grit and Grind Coffee, creative, brand strategist, and above all, mom and wife, bringing you real talk on what it takes to thrive as a business owner, especially when you're doing it alongside your partner. Here, we don't just focus on the wins. We dig deep into the struggles, the sacrifices, and the daily grind that it takes to make it all possible. So tune in, subscribe, and get ready to uncover the grit behind the grind.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Grit Behind the Grind podcast. Today, I'm really excited to kind of dive into Jon Chan's story. He is somebody who I met here recently and got to talking with him. And I was like, man, this dude has a lot of really cool things going on. So I was like, hey, you want to jump on the podcast? And here we are. So Jon, tell us a little bit about you, man.
Hi, thanks for having me. So I'm a real estate investor, got started a little over 4 years ago. Before that, I was working corporate, partner at my consulting company. I worked my way up the internal accounting ladder and wasn't really enjoying it. So that's why I got into real estate.
Yeah. Do you hear that? I think COVID really opened the eyes for so many people. It's like, we're stuck at home and it's like, I'm doing something that I really don't enjoy. And it was almost an excuse to make sure that hey, we don't live life to where we're doing things that don't bring us purpose or fulfillment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that because exactly why I got started was during COVID. I remember sitting across from my wife who was pregnant with our second child, thinking, this is a make or break time, right? You either come out of this better or you come out of it worse. And which one do you want to be? And one of the things I got worried about was, well, if one of us doesn't make it through, then the other person's going to suffer financially. Did not want that to happen. So I wanted to make sure that we were financially independent. And so dove right into real estate. Yeah.
I think that what really kind of interested me whenever I was hearing you speak. So we went to this event in Atlanta, this PML event. And when I got to talking with you, one of the things that you said, you was like, hey, I sold all of my rental properties. You know what I mean? Like I sold them all. And it's like, when you think about people that's in the real estate, right? You traditionally think that the people that's in real estate, they either have like all of these rental properties or they're like fixing and flipping properties. That's typically what you see mostly like on social media and everything. And your story was a little bit different. This whole group's story was a little bit different that I kind of just got introduced to. And I was like, holy cow, it's almost like anything in the world. You know what I mean? It's onions, there's layers to it. And you pull back one layer and it's like, there's a whole new world. But tell us a little bit about that. Like, tell me, for our listeners, why you got rid of all of your rental properties.
Yeah, so I can start off with, when I was doing my research, real estate to me was owning property. I was managing properties for my dad locally in the Northern Virginia area and had always heard that you get rich. But when I was running the numbers and comparing the amount of rent that we're getting versus how much we had to pay in the mortgage, it's like no one's getting rich off of this. So I just YouTubed, how do people scale in real estate, and found out it's not just the rent, right? The rent protects you from going bankrupt or having to come out of pocket. It's the appreciation. Depending on the market, you're going to get 3% or 10%, like whatever it is. The depreciation, the tax benefits of owning property. You get to write off more than you're bringing in for rent. And then principal pay down, someone else is paying your mortgage, right? All these different things. And leverage. After a 5-year period, you have enough spread so you can do a cash out refi and access some of that equity tax-free because it's associated with a loan. And so I thought, if my goal is to become financially independent and I just want to live off of landlord income, get a bunch of properties, right? Live off of that $300 to $500 per door and, just do whatever you want to do. Come to find out, it is not like that. Again, the $300 to $500 per door is really there to protect you and put into reserve so that you can take care of vacancies or any large expenses, small expenses, whatever it is. But it really is there to protect you. Owning rental property is not unless you're doing some kind of fancy method. If you're a beginner and the goal is to get out of your W-2, owning property is probably not the best way to do it. It can work, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's the best way to do it. Just because you're dealing with maintenance, you're dealing with vacancies, and so your cash flow is inconsistent. Really landed on lending as the way to go, just because in July of 23, my mom wanted to retire. I didn't want her to be a landlord like me. So I moved all of her money from different retirement accounts, put into what's called a self-directed retirement account, and then started hunting. I had always knew about lending. I actually had a couple of private money lenders that lend me money so I could go out and buy some houses, and found that this was so much better because you do a lot of your vetting up front, and then once you're done, you're just collecting money on a monthly basis. You're not having to deal with the pipes burst or the floors are soft, so we have to redo the subflooring. It's just collecting money. And so because I helped my mom do that, decided this is probably the better route for me, because now I'm like, I just lend the money out. I don't have to deal with the septic tank that I have to deal with, rebuilding the chimney, and all things I've had to do in the past 2 years.
Yeah, dude, I love that. And you think about traditional real estate, or like you said, everybody wants to leave their W-2 job and they want to be into real estate. Like it's like this fancy coined word, but if you really dive into it, that's not how you become wealthy. That's not how you replace your income. But all of the other things that you kind of did hit on, as far as like you hit on two things, I kind of want to dive a little bit into those. And that is how you utilized a self-directed IRA to fund your new business model and deals, right? And then a little bit about like, what is lending? Like, what does that even look like? Because we all know that there's a bank on every corner, you know what I mean? And that's exactly what they're doing, but how does like the everyday Joe, somebody who had a W-2, get into lending?
Yeah. So, sorry, what was the first question?
Well, so basically, how do we utilize an IRA for, let's start there. Like, what
Yeah.
is that? Like, how did you even do that? How did you learn about that? And then how do you use those funds now for your own deals?
Yeah. So, one of the things that I came across was this community called the Sub2 community. And at this point, I was a sponge. Like I was just absorbing information from all different places or from all different sections within the Sub2. They call it a vault. So you have videos on capital raising, private money lending, lead generation, wholesaling, all these different things, right? And so I was just going through and went through the capital raising series, learned a ton. And one of the things was self-directed. Self-directed retirement account is just like any other retirement account, except you're not confined to only purchase the products that your vendor or provider offers, right? You can put that money in whatever. You can buy oil, you can buy gas, you can buy gold, you can put it into real estate. And so it just made sense to me that I could put this money into a self-directed retirement account and then use this money to help my mom retire through something that I knew, because I didn't trust stocks, maybe because I didn't know enough. But before everything shut down during COVID, I sold everything, sold all my stocks, and expecting it to tank. Nothing was open, but it went the opposite direction. So at that point, I said, I'm not dealing with this. Plus, I mean, they charge you they charge you a lot of fees. If you're not looking at the fee structure of your retirement account, just go check it out. I mean, compared to a self-directed retirement account, you're probably paying, depending on the balance of your account, you're paying way more for someone to quote unquote manage your money.
Yeah. And nobody cares about your money like you do. You know what I mean? So I love that. I like having control. And even if I'm going to delegate some task, I want to at least be very knowledgeable about it so I can really understand, like, okay, are they, just misleading me, or is this factual? Is this the right move for my buckets of money? So I love having that control.
Yeah, for sure. And then so once you've done that, like really realizing that maybe this is the route I should take. And I'm not saying that owning property is bad. It's an amazing thing. It's because I've owned property, my net worth has like tripled over a 5-year period. I mean, not because of anything I did personally, but because I just got in at a lucky time where everything popped during COVID, right? So because of that, I get to a point where I can sell all my properties, take that cash, and now lend and really just make consistent returns. And so if I were to go back, and the question was like, how does anybody really get into lending? If I were to go back, I would, instead of taking all this money and putting it into houses and rentals, I would learn how to underwrite well. The biggest mistake that I've seen is people are not vetting deals. And so if you know how to underwrite a property, you know that this is what a property is worth, then I can safely loan up to 75%, 80% of that property, knowing that if I need to, I can foreclose on that and take it back, fire sell it, and get my money back. Like that's the safest way to do it. So anybody can, I would say, if you are new to it, you don't know anything about it, find someone who's doing it in the market that you want to do it and just work with them, bring them value. Say, hey, I have $100,000. Can you help me evaluate lending opportunities in Virginia? And then I'll do a loan with you, right? I'll pay you. I'll whatever it is, that's the best way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah. So right now, currently, your business model is not acquiring properties and being a landlord. You've pivoted to being a lender, right? So you
Yeah.
lend out your money and what, you get an interest on a monthly basis on that, money that you lend out.
Yeah, so there have been two ways that I've done it. So one of them is when I was brand new and chasing these higher returns. I was chasing flat rates of return on fix and flips nationwide. Great if you know how to do it and you know all the foreclosure laws and regulations and process in all 50 states. But if you're not at that level, you can find enough deals in one particular state and just do that. So two different ways to earn money. You can do interest only payments throughout the life of the loan, or you can do one lump sum at the end of the loan. So those are the two different ways to do it.
Which ones do you prefer? Like, what are you currently dabbling in now?
So I front loaded a lot of my loans with the back end loan. So it's basically flat rates of return. So if I'm putting in $50,000 and it's at a 20% flat rate of return for 6 months, that's $10,000 of return. I'm putting in 50 at the end of the project. I'm getting back 60. But I don't like that anymore. One, because it is riskier. Two, because I would like to have monthly income. So I know that the borrower is actually, they can actually afford it. And three, because I just like getting extra money every single month. These backloaded loans are a bit riskier and a lot has to go right. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't do it, but a lot has to go right for you to get your money back. And unless you know the borrower well, unless you know the projects well, the states well, the area well, probably not the best way to do it.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I like having checkpoints as well. You know what I mean? Like, even if I don't need the money on a monthly basis, it's like, okay, as long as that's coming, it's a metric that I can say, oh, the project must be going well. You know what I mean? Not having to worry about it all at the back end. I think it's been really cool when we meet, like a few weeks ago, and I've done exactly what you said that you were doing, and that was jumping in the sub two and just kind of like being a sponge and learning everything. Like, I am so fascinating about this whole creative, lending business model because, one, it's scalable. Like, I would love to kind of jump in there. I know you're building out a business model in a complete differently state than you're currently residing in, so it has that ability to it. But then also, it's like we talked about. I mean, there's a lot of cons of being a landlord, right? I mean, you have all the CapEx expenses, you have the repairs and maintenance, you have the people. I mean, we could go on and on about people, right?
Yeah.
But this business model seems like where you should all be wanting to go, right? I mean, like, if you're getting into real estate, you're not getting into real estate just because you like houses, right? You're getting in there to leave your W-2, meet whatever goal that you have in life. And this lending part of it just seems like it allows you to get to that goal a lot faster with less risk. But I also want to kind of talk about, you kind of mentioned, hey, if I was to do this all over again, I would spend a lot of time learning the underwriting process. And I'm guessing that is because it's a risk thing, right? The better you are there, the less riskier the deal is, correct?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you don't know your numbers, you could just be giving your money away, right? One of the biggest things is you never give any money to anybody directly to their bank account. Two, you never give any money to anybody if you don't know exactly how much equity is in the collateral, right? Through filed recorded documents. So, I mean, these are things that are unrelated to underwriting, but it's just part of the process. Make sure your money's going directly to the title. And then title's, giving you all the documents saying like these are going to be filed with the state, so that if they were to sell the property, then your underwriting then matters, because you can underwrite all day. You can know your numbers, but if you don't have recorded documents filed with, like, publicly recorded documents, it doesn't mean anything. But yeah, I mean, if I were to do it all over again, I would just lend and then use owning property, like property ownership, becoming a landlord, as a way to save on taxes. And again, like, I don't mean to say that owning property is bad, but there's like a time and place for it. Like, what stage in your career are you? So if I were to go back, I would say, learn how to underwrite really well, know what a property is worth as is when your borrower is purchasing it, lend on that, make the money. And then once you've gotten to a point where you have this high tax liability, use property to then take some of it down, reduce your tax liability.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where I'm at currently. I did a episode with somebody a few weeks ago, and we were talking about like the fallacy of people thinking that they get into real estate just to be wealthy, right? Actually, like businesses are lending, things that create cash flow is the things that make you wealthy. And then when you have too much wealth, you need to figure out something to do with that bucket of money so you don't have to give it all to Uncle Sam. That's when you start investing into real estate. I did it the complete opposite way as well. You know what I mean? I think it's just kind of society has set us up through social media and everybody, you know, influencers or, hey, real estate, get into real estate, you know, and you listen to Bigger Pockets and you think that, you know, hey, I'm going to leave my W-2, but that's really not the way, you know. It's definitely a tax thing. I agree with that 100%.
And it helps you preserve it too. I mean, it helps you preserve, like if you have a business that's automated and then you just go out and you buy a property, that is just going to exponentially grow your net worth.
Yeah, 100%. So let's talk about, like, basically me and my wife, we're currently, our sandbox for the most part is real estate and then coffee. And one of the things that we're doing currently in the coffee space in general is building out a community, right? So we're making sure that we have tools, resources, a network of other business owners that are inside the coffee space so they can have all of these resources. And I heard you kind of hit on it. I'm going into the sub-2 community. How valuable was that for getting you to where you are now, having, you know, kind of a back end resource guide, fast track things, and would you do it over again, join a community?
Yeah, I would totally join a community. So up until from 2021 to the middle of 2022, I was doing this all on my own, basically just going on YouTube University, listening to audiobooks, Bigger Pockets, right? But it's one way to do it. I mean, at the time, I don't know what it is now, but at the time I just learned the Burr method, long distance. It's all I knew, so I did it. But then going into the sub-2 community, I learned how to do wholesaling. Not that I was any good at it, but I learned, right? I learned how to raise capital. Not that I'm any good at it, but I learned. I learned how to be a good borrower. I learned how to be a good private money lender. I learned the how to protect my lenders as well as protect myself as a lender. And really, every single deal that I've done since joining Sub2 has been directly related to being within the community, whether it's Sub2 or the Gator community. My first deal as a lender, my partner's a Gator. My other two partners are Sub2 and Gator. The deal was brought to me by a Sub2 student. Right. Yeah. It's just like, yeah, all these things because of the community, I highly recommend, because you go into a spot where, I mean, I've had people steal deals from me outside of the community, but inside the community, I mean, I'm not saying like it's 100%, but it's like a completely different world. Everyone's there to help each other win. Like we're there. I've asked some dumb questions, but people have answered them for me. And it's been, I mean, short answer, yes, I highly recommend joining community, whatever community it is that resonates with you.
Yeah. I think we live in a day and age where information is just vast. I mean, you can pretty much learn anything at any time about, you know, whatever it is. But when you put yourself in the right rooms, whether it's masterminds, whether it's communities, whatever it is, it allows you to fast track that and then learn a lot from not only the people in the group, but you have a direct line usually to, you know, people inside your network that's most likely done what you're trying to do. And what I've learned is that information and just that ability to reach out to somebody and connect with them is by far worth any type of money or funds that you pay to be a part of these type of groups. So, you know, I think it's great.
The network alone is worth it. I mean, the education alone is worth it. So you combine those two together, because I mean, in there, you know how you can buy. They teach you how to buy businesses. They teach you how to buy cars, like creative finance. They teach you how to buy houses, creative finance. But then, yeah, at the last year at Squad Up Summit, I had dinner with two executives from a pharmaceutical company. I never would have thought that I'd be able to have dinner with people like them. I get to call I don't know if you know her name is Rhea Campbell. She was at the event. She just sold her company to private equity. Never would be able to have someone like that in my network without being in a community. It's just like the amount of people you get access to, because it is a filter. You're working with, like, there's some people that are just starting, but then there are also some like really high level people too.
Right. Yeah. What about your infrastructure, your back end, like office? What does that look like? What does it require to, you know, because you left your W-2, right? How long ago did you leave your W-2? How many years ago?
June of 24.
Okay, June of 24. All right. So we're going on a year, almost a
Almost
year,
a year.
right? And then what did you have in place? What gave you the sense of security to go ahead and rip that Band-Aid off and go out on your own? Like how big was your team? What did you have in place? Like walk us through that.
Yeah, so at the time I had an operator. I had an operator, and then I had a VA who's been with me for a couple of years. And honestly, I didn't have a plan. I just had money saved in the bank. I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing it this way because it's been a tough road. But because of the struggles that I've had to gone through, I've gone through, like, finally picked a spot. So I had an operator, and then we brought in an underwriter. My operator ended up leaving. We're still friends. We're gonna hang out and SWAT up. But now it's just my partner who helps with underwriting and keeps our CRM and everything organized. And then my VA. That's basically our back office. We are currently doing our own bookkeeping at the moment because we're both in finance. But yeah, at some point, it's just going to be the three of us, along with an AI tool to help us keep track of everything. But it really doesn't take a ton to do for lending.
Was there a moment or what made you leave your job? Like what gave you that sense of security? Or did you just get tired of it and you was like, hey, you know what I mean? I'm doing this, whether I fail or go, or was there something that gave you the confidence to leave?
I mean, mainly two things. First, it was the cash I had in the bank. And the second thing is I knew that I could sell all my properties. Actually, three things. I knew I could sell all my properties and survive if I needed to. The third thing was talking to my wife. I mean, she's a stay-at-home mom. She homeschools the kids, and she said, I mean, do it. Like, we're fine. Like, we can figure it out. And so that really was the last thing. Her confidence in me, I think, really is what gave me the confidence to go out and just do it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat. So we started this coffee business and I had no intentions of leaving my job. I tell my wife all the time jokingly, I'm like, man, I want to go back because I did way less work, you know what I mean? Working
Yeah.
for somebody else. But we had this coffee business up and going for about 6 months. And, financially it was doing great. The revenue every single month, like that box was checked. We've always kind of had this like nest egg saved up for reserves. So that box was checked, but it was really, one day coming home, like my wife, basically saying, hey, look, I need you to go all in on this with me. You know what I mean? And if it
Yeah.
wasn't for her kind of like, pushing me off the ledge, I'd probably still be riding that cake job that I had, So
Yeah.
very, very similar situation.
But are you glad you did it?
Oh, 1000%. I don't even know if I can imagine life, the other way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the freedom it brings, like in like 2 hours, I'm about to go take my daughter to her jujitsu class on a freaking Tuesday afternoon. It's amazing.
yeah. Oh, dude, it is really wild because like you think back all the times I had to ask my employer to get off to go to the doctor or whatever
Yeah.
it is,
Hmm.
it definitely is a lot of freedom. Sometimes it's more stressful, like I said, and we
Yeah.
have a lot on our plates. One of the really cool things that I didn't even realize that I would enjoy so much, and that is creating opportunities for other people. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you start out doing this. It's kind of like a selfish thing, hey, I'm going to have more control over my life. I'm going to be able to take my daughter, be there at my kids' sporting events.
Yeah.
But then you start seeing all of these things that you're creating. And whether it's, a house flipper that's getting started on their first house and like you're the money for them. And like, it's been his dream to flip a house, like having some type of platform to provide opportunities for me, man, that has been really the metric that I am so thankful that I did this.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we're always thinking inwards, but we don't realize the impact that we have on other people, which is a really cool thing.
Yeah, for sure. Nah, dude, I love the community. I love getting to meet, everybody in the lending side. It's been really fun for me and exciting. Tell us about this new business venture or you're pivoting, right? Like you're starting out kind of going all in on what is that?
Yeah, so going all in on lending, previously for the past year and 3 months, I've been doing it nationwide. Now I'm really focused on one market, which is Virginia, and I'm taking a proven model and applying it to that state with partners that are way more experienced, way better at it than I am. Because one of the biggest things is I would always tell newer people to find people that are doing exactly what it is that you want to do in that market. And so all I did was just asked, like, can I open up another state for you? I know Virginia. I've lived there for over 30 years. I can do this for you. Is there any way we can partner? And so because of it, now I have a ton of confidence to know that if I just go on our lead gen, we have the ability to fund these deals. And yeah, we're essentially doing bridge loans for real estate investors in Virginia. No minimum requirements for experience or FICO score. Super flexible and really fast. I mean, at least in Georgia, we have the ability to fund next day. And, we're looking to do the same thing in Virginia as well, to help save deals where lenders back out at the signing table, which I've heard has happened before.
Right. No, I think that's really cool. Virginia, you said you're originally from there too, right?
Yeah, I've lived in Northern Virginia for over 30 years. I just moved down here to Florida recently.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. I think I'm going to start trying to learn as much as I can and replicate some of those strategies that I learned here in my market.
Yeah.
Just because I remember being in a position to where, hey, like I seen this house, I passed by it every single day driving home, and I was like, man, I would love to go fix that house up, or, make it a little bit nicer on my street. And then also, make a little bit extra money, and being in a position to where the bank's like, you know what, your debt to income ratio is not good enough, or whatever box that they need to be checked can't be checked. So having the ability to access those funds, could be, a really beneficial thing for people in your local market. And that's what I'm kind of like learning. And that's why I'm excited to kind of dive into it and head to that squad up and jump into that community you were talking about, because, it's all about partnerships.
Yeah, for sure. And then, I'm happy to explain the roadmap, the work that I've done to you so that you can get started in Alabama.
Yeah, for sure. We'll continue to link up, man. I'm excited to see you in Dallas, and I'm sure we're gonna have like a really good time and get to learn. I'm gonna need to bring my notebook. You know what I mean? But give me so much information. I know that's how it was in Atlanta. I have like 3 pages, and I'm not even a note taker, dude. So it was just a lot of good information, and I'm looking forward to learning more about it. Hopefully this helps somebody. Maybe someone's looking for, some lending to do some flips or whatever that looks like, and they see this and, points them in the right direction.
Yeah. if you're looking for funds in Virginia, reach out to me. If you want to learn about how to be a private money lender, reach out to me. Always looking for more lending partners and show you how to do it properly and keep yourself safe.
Yeah. How do they reach out to you?
The best way is Instagram. So my handle is JonChanRei. Just send me a DM. Let me know where you came from so I can let Eric know.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate it, John. Thanks for all the information, and we will see everyone next time. No grit, no pearl.